Hi.
Hi.
So when was a time in your life where curiosity just changed your life?
Oh God. I feel like it's been my entire life. Okay. One of my best friends made me a cake for my birthday 2 years ago, and it just said "Happy Birthday, Curious Lauren" on it because he always used to kind of give me a hard time because I'm just so curious about things. But for me, I would say so. There's a few things. I have kind of started to move into this project with the company I work with, Indeed. And I have always been interested in the space industry, like since I can remember. Um, when I quit my last job, I was there for 7 years. I was like, what interests me? Like, what am I curious about? And it was actually space. So about a year ago, I ended up slacking the chief revenue officer at Indeed and basically pitched her on approaching the space industry as a new vertical to the company. And I was just like purely curious on, you know, if if we could go that far with the opportunity, like if she would listen and hear me out, and she did. So as of October, that should be a new project that I'll be spearheading, which is literally building the vertical for the space industry at Indeed, which is like talking about like changing my life. That's like an entire new that's an insane project to take on, honestly. That, and then another would be I've always just like kind of similar to you, I've always been a really curious person. And so I started my own YouTube channel to do that because I needed like an outlet. I just needed something that would allow me to talk to different people because I really love engaging conversations. I'm a very intellectual type of person. That's how I get energy, really. And so I started a YouTube channel because I became interested in, I was curious, like, what is it like to live life without drinking when I was 25? I was like, I'm curious what that life is like. Carnivore lifestyle, like, why are so many people benefiting from that? The food industry, like, just so many things that I wanted to talk about and explore brought me to a YouTube channel. And now that's given me another income stream, another job if I need one to fall back on, crazy cool network of people to talk to. So it really has framed my whole life, curiosity,
Hmm.
just kind of stepping into different places.
When does when does how do you balance between curiosity and distraction?
That's such a good question. um, yeah, I think curiosity can be a distraction, but something that I've always been pretty good at is being focused. And I think that distraction is a little bit more fleeting,
Hmm.
whereas curiosity is a little bit more based in there's a sort of feeling to it that is has a little bit more gravity in my experience. So something I'm genuinely curious about is like it's not going to be a one-time thing that hits me. It'll keep coming back
Mm.
and it'll keep becoming a question. Whereas a distraction is like in that moment. You know, you're like, oh, let me like, you're kind of like a squirrel and a dog. You know, you're like, oh, there. It's different. It feels different, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's been a lot of different, let's call it, I don't even know what to call it. But so when you think about approaching curiosity, do you look at it as, is this idea with me for the next 3 months? For example, there's some entrepreneur out there who talks about, if I have a business idea, I write it down and I basically put it in a box for 3 months. And if I still care about it in 3 months, then I'll action on it.
Mm.
Do you look at curiosity as in, if I'm still interested in this thing for 3 months, then I pursue it as more seriously. It's not a distraction. What kind of guardrails do you put around yourself in order to kind of contain your curiosity and always wanting to be curious about new and different things, not kind of bouncing from one curiosity to the next in a way that you don't actually make progress on any of the curiosities?
Yeah. So I don't tend to have a ton of guardrails in my life where I'm like, okay, if I have an idea, I'm going to put it in this jar and like all that. I kind of function more off of, again, it's a feeling thing where it's like a burst of interest. Then I'm like, ooh, I want to kind of like dive into that. And then I do. What I do is I don't think hard about things. I kind of just go. And I don't pre-plan. I don't practice a lot. I just kind of just send it. But once I start doing it and I do it long enough and I keep wanting to do it, that's when I decide to make a commitment to it. Because actually what can happen, I think, is the opposite, is like something that you were curious in, you know, it's fun while it's motivating. But if you have an end goal with it, like a podcast or a YouTube channel, right? Like it's kind of like a marriage. Like you kind of have to commit to it. You have to like decide that I'm going to be with this thing consistently no matter what. It's like going to the gym, right? Like somebody's curious about figuring out how to lift weights for a little while. That's curiosity. But then if you like it long enough, you're getting the results that you want from it. You then at a certain point have to commit to it. And so I think like, I would say the starting point is, yeah, I'll get that feeling of like, this feels right. It's very hard to describe, but it's like that.
Yeah.
You know, it really is like a grounded base, like you should go there. And then I follow that. And then if I like it long enough, then I commit to it. So like for me with my YouTube channel, I just basically decided like I'm sticking with this for life. It's not like a goals thing. It's not like once I have 1 million people, it's really just like I'm sticking with it and I trust the process. But when you do that, it makes it so that you can't be curious about everything. You have to be more selective from then on. So it sort of helps actually with the curiosity versus just distraction thing. Yeah.
It's like dating an idea, then getting ready to like marry an idea.
Yeah.
So when you talk about committing to an idea that you've been curious about, what shifts for you between dating the idea and now I'm ready to commit and marry this idea? What do you think about? What do you think about as far as what you need to either change or commit to the idea or up level in the idea or just structure about it? Like what does commitment look like for you?
Something that I think has really helped me is I think I've changed my identity like consciously 10 times, like literally, because it requires that. So, you know, as an example, this is something that I find is really interesting to talk about. When I talk about not drinking, I come from a standpoint of like, I was a social drinker. I was somebody who drank on the weekends and stuff, but I knew a lot of alcoholics, and there's a difference between people who stop drinking if you're an alcoholic or if you're just a social drinker. I was a social drinker, but still it was such a frame of my reality to just go out on the weekends and drink. And to stop doing that, I quite literally like had to change my identity to be like, I'm somebody who instead of lives for the night, I wake up in the morning. And I live for the day. And I chose to change like who I was. The same thing like creating a YouTube channel. It's like you are choosing to make time every single week to more or less prioritize this relationship. And so that comes with like changing your identity into kind of becoming like a YouTuber or like a podcaster, which asks like, it requires different things of you. So to me, I actually find it easier to make those changes when I just adopt the identity, I guess, if that makes any sense. Because otherwise you're just battling yourself, your old version versus who you're trying to be. Yeah. It doesn't align and you're just like irritated all the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's making that conscious, true commitment of like, okay, to get that, I have to become that, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be the thing that you want. You don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the classic, what people want to talk about with Neville Goddard and like all that, the classic law of attraction stuff or whatever manifestation thing people get into. I really do think like, I didn't start attracting really good friends until I became a really good friend. You know what I mean?
It's wild.
It's what I consciously remember being like, oh, I'm going to be better. And then I got better.
Yeah.
I got better friends around me. So I just think it's like a matter of changing fundamentally who I am. And then that curiosity becomes a part of me, kind of.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the you said this line, which was, instead of living for the night, living for the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And that seems like a really good mental shift of the morning is the most important thing to me. Therefore, how do I show up tonight in order so the morning works?
Yeah.
Which I think for a lot of us would be a really good mind shift, that's what we were trying to, if drinking or early nights was something we were trying to, not drinking and having earlier nights was something we were trying to bring into our new identity.
Yeah, to shift. It's like, well, do you live for the morning or do you live for the night?
Morning. I just want to be in bed and get 9 hours of sleep.
I know,
that's all I want.
Just like put on a movie at
That's
night
it. That's
and hang out.
That's
right?
life.
It's like, it's great. I think it's like, yeah, it's like I was saying before, you kind of create the pillars of your life and then you can kind of dance around them. I think a life that's too structured, too scheduled is like not it. Personally, it feels stale and like too much. But if you do big things right, don't lie, don't steal, don't lie, don't cheat, don't steal. You know, for me, it wasn't like stop drinking, don't smoke nicotine, like these things that feel very. And I'm not going to say I'm perfect. Obviously, I'm not trying to stand on like a pedestal here, but like in general, I try to aim for those things, and then kind of the rest just falls into place. You know, it keeps me structured, and then I can dance in life around the rest of the pillars.
Yeah,
if you will.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Obviously being in Austin's a little bit different because I think there's a big culture here. When people first enter Austin, they tend to believe Austin's a huge drinking city.
Yeah.
And then what I found was my time in Austin was yes, and there's a huge community here that does not drink, and has very little relationship with alcohol, and or has a very healthy relationship, and maybe there is drinking, but it's very conscious. What shifts did you make in your life when you decided to not drink in order to make it easier for you to not drink and still have fun?
Yeah. What shifts did I make? You know, it was just a gradual thing of over time. And I think this is how change comes about in general. Like when you have something that you've just been doing for so long, you know, you're like, you just been, whatever it is. Somebody could be smoking weed forever, drinking cigarettes. Like at a certain point, you just kind of get tired of your own shit if you like aren't happy with it. And like, I just got sick of being hungover. I really did. And so what I did, I made a really, like, again, I never really had a problem, but I recognized that I was somebody that could eventually have a problem. And so I noticed that in myself and I was like, okay, I can see where this could go and I don't want that. And so the shift I made, I think there's like a beauty to sort of like we were talking about in the car, like slowing down and then also like just taking space. And so I consciously remember like it's not that I stopped going out because I would still see friends, but I was super selective about where I wanted to go. And I also started filling in my life with other things that I'd never tried before that I was interested in. So I never really had time to listen to podcasts. I never had time to play the piano. I lived in Denver and I rarely went to the mountains. It's insane actually how that happens when you live in those places. But I started going, I just would wake up in the morning at 7 a.m. and I used to be hungover from like on Sundays and I wasn't anymore. Everybody was asleep because at the time no one didn't drink. So I was just alone, not hungover, I mean. And I would just go to the mountains and then I was like, okay, I guess I'll run. So I started trail running. So it's kind of funny is like you make one decision, which for me was don't go out late. Just come home and watch a movie or hang out with friends one-on-one. And then as a result, other things start filling in. So it actually isn't that complex. It's rather just like make a decision and then I think the world kind of conspires in your favor.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing though. Like I think once we shift our identity, the world shifts with us.
100%.
You ever experienced that?
All the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like how?
I mean, I think a lot of it shifts. For me, a lot of it shifted when like my entrepreneurial background, when I really leaned into it and just said like, this is what I am. Actually, no, there was a moment. Okay, this was a few years ago. I had always wanted to be a CMO, of a tech company. I was just
Okay.
obsessed with the idea. I just wanted it, but I had no experience. And I was like, well, if nobody's going to hire me, I'm just going to be it.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to start acting as a CMO. I'm going to start a marketing agency that I am a fractional CMO. And then people started to hire me as a CMO.
Really?
Because they just believed I was, because I believed I was.
Right?
Yeah. And it's like, I made it up out of thin air.
It's the craziest thing.
It's wild how life just does that for you.
How fast did it happen?
I went from starting the agency to the first year, I think I did like a couple $100,000 in revenue the first year.
Damn.
And I was like,
do you know how
this
good
was
that
great.
is?
It was great. It was so good.
Like, okay, that's such an interesting topic to touch on, I think, because so like, I think so many people, myself included, like I used to we kind of just float in life. We just kind of doing the thing we've always done. But it took me having that shift of like, deciding to stop drinking was so profound for me because I realized all the other things that filled in as a result from it without even really trying. To your point, like now suddenly you have $200,000, $300,000 of revenue that you didn't have the year before, and different confidence and different opportunities and probably new friends and things. Same thing with me when I stopped drinking. So it's like that shift when I realized like, oh, you can literally just like change your identity completely. Like what happens? To what I was saying before, I don't know that a lot of people recognize the power that we all have to do that.
Yeah.
So like to the space thing that I was talking about at the beginning, this is truly fascinating to me actually. It's like I had this idea to bring the space industry to Indeed. I've been networking in that space.
I love it.
It's in that industry for like years because I wanted to work in it, and to keep a long story short, most space companies are in Denver, Colorado.
Really?
Yes.
Why?
Because Colorado has the Air Force.
Okay.
And they're in Colorado Springs, Denver. They're in like a lot of places that I didn't want to be, like in Florida too, and like, you know. So anyways, I got hired at a remote company, and they ended up not being able to move forward with it, a remote space tourism company. They ended up not being able to move forward with it because of finances. So I got hired at Indeed, and I still had that interest of like, I want to be in the space industry. Pursued that, followed that curiosity, stayed in touch with the people I wanted to stay in touch with. And then Indeed does these layoffs like, I don't know, a year and a half ago. And I'm sitting there. I just so happened to be on a conversation with these space companies that I was on weekly because I just had this feeling, the curiosity thing of just like, okay, just keep going just because. And yeah, I'm like, oh my God, there could be some real synergy here. Like the space industry needs help in hiring, like in a really big way. And I don't know that people pay attention to it because it's not taken very seriously unless you're SpaceX. So I ask my boss, I'm like, what are the channels of communication to like ask superiors in the company, you know, like the C-suite people, if we can do this? And he tells me the formal ways. I go about the formal ways. I get a no, 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 no. They're like, it's not the right time. And I'm like, bullshit. This is the right time. They just laid off, like they're restructuring the whole company. So I slacked the CEO and the CMO and the CRO. And they met with me. And like, that's one of those things that like, I'm not special for doing that. I just had the confidence to do it, to like pretend like I'm on their level in a sense, which I'm not a C-suite executive, but I gathered that, like you were saying with the kind of like the pretending to be a CMO thing. When I was at a startup, I had to kind of pretend to be really important a lot to be taken seriously on the phone. So it gave me a lot of confidence because I would pull off cool things. And in this situation, did it again. Like just, I had my information accurately with the space industry. I had the numbers, I had all that. But yeah, now it's like a year later and it actually worked. And like, that's an entire new reality to step into that I don't think most people, like they would never, ever just have the audacity to like slack the CRO, you know? And I think more people should, in a sense, because you don't know like what you can do. You just like kind of fake it until you make it in a way, but maybe it's not faking it. I mean, would you call it faking it?
No.
You should become it.
I think you just are.
You just are.
Yeah, you just are. I don't think there is faking it. I don't think you fake anything. You are it. I guess it's fake if it feels fake internally.
Yeah.
But I think if you believe you are that thing, then it's not fake anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you believe you were that thing?
Yeah.
Before you started the company?
Yeah. Yeah.
For how long?
Probably too long. Probably a year at least.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's just, again, it's that thing of, I think there's this world where you fake it until you make it. But if you believe internally you are the thing that you're faking is that you don't have external evidence yet to back up the thing that you believe that you are. And so that's probably the faking of it is nobody's validated that you're this thing yet except for you. And that's okay, because the more that you can believe in you, then you will eventually get that external validation. And yes, it's external validation, and the whole world tells us we shouldn't thrive off of external validation. But at the end of the day, especially when it comes to work stuff, you need validation. Find me a business on Google reviews with 0 reviews, and I'll tell you a business that 100%. Has no business.
No doubt.
Yeah. So you do need external validation in the world of work that says, like, I've worked with this person and they've done a great job. And so I think that's the faking of it.
I totally agree. And I think that's like the curiosity thing that, like, I meet so many people who want to do a thing, but then they don't do it.
Yeah.
They're like curious about this thing, but that's like where it stays. It's just like, it's just curious. And I'm like, just do it. Like, just do it. Like, it's so rewarding, even if you suck. Like, even, you know what I mean? Like, just, who knows? I don't know. I feel like curiosity is actually, I kind of think it's like a nudge from the universe. It's like a hint. It's like I think it should be taken more seriously than we maybe take it.
Curiosity is a gift the universe is giving you.
Yeah.
It's saying you should be curious. Like, I'm gifting you this curiosity. Please go do something with it.
Right.
How do you take action on curiosity? Something comes into your body, into your brain, that is something you want to do. How would you take action? How would you encourage anybody else to take action? Because everybody says just do it. Everybody says that.
Yeah.
But that's not enough. Like, there has to be a thing, an actionable thing that somebody can do in order to at least get that little micro win, that micro movement.
Oh, gosh. It might depend on the person. It might depend on the thing, because each person, like,
But you.
For me, I mean, see, I'm kind of the person who just does it.
Do it.
I just do it. Like, that's the thing, is like, I'm like that person who I actually think it's maybe harmful to think too much about it. Because I think our intellect can have a tendency to override our intuition. Like, when you're on a sales call and which you've been on plenty of sales calls, regardless of what role you're in, everybody's selling. But like, whether that's the CMO position or any other position you've done, you're flowing in the moment. In sales, we have this, I coach sales. So like, you have this structure of a sale. It's like, you do the needs analysis, you do this, you do that. But on the call, you're not really thinking. You're just doing it. And so I think people that hyper engineer things too much actually slow down the flow of like the genius that could come to them, in a sense. Mm-hmm. So it's like, okay, maybe for me, it truly is like, when I start getting into something, I kind of just go, I do the most logical next step, which to me in the moment is, like, for me, okay, I didn't even really think about slacking the CRO. Like, I just did. Yeah, I didn't feel fearful about it. I didn't feel bad about it. I didn't feel weird. I didn't feel lesser than. And, like, she took the meeting with me, and that was good, because then I got the meeting and I got to say, like, see if this is an opportunity or not.
How did you position yourself? How did you position the story as well? Was it, here's a thing I think we should build and I can execute and build it? Or was it, here's an idea. Is this something worth having a conversation? Like, how did you just position yourself?
So when I slacked her, I was like not expecting her to get back really, but I sent her like, hey, this is who I am, like 2 sentences. And then I was like, I think there's a huge opportunity for Indeed here to approach an industry. And I didn't say what the industry was because I wanted her to be kind of curious.
Oh.
And then I was like, here's 3 or 4 things that I can bring to the table. Let me know if you want to talk about it. So I kept it quite vague, but I led with like ample amount of confidence and just like, as I should, as everybody should, like I have something that's worth listening to. And like, I'm not going to give it all out there, like classic sales, you kind of lead with a little vagueness to hook them in a little. And then when she and I spoke, I was really upfront with like, I know this industry's growing and, we have an opportunity here to be one of the first to capture this industry. So then she tested me. And anyways, like 3 months goes by, I happen to see her in the building, weirdly, because she's not in Austin. She's in another state. She just happened to be there at 7 a.m. And we just run into each other at the coffee shop at 7 a.m. And she's like, we need to meet. And like, are you free tomorrow at 6:45 in the morning? I'm like, yeah, like, sure, cool. Show up, don't really have anything prepared. And we kind of have this meeting. And then this is where she tests me. She's like, can you get me a proposal? And I'm like, shit, yeah, don't have anything. So for like the next 3 days, I just write this whole proposal. And it's like 54 pages. And I sent it to her. And so like, basically to summarize all of that, to answer your question, it was like, I came with just conviction in what I had to say and a knowing that it was a good thing. Like, I think if you know something's good, you should go with it. Like, if you know, go with it. If you're like, not if you're insecure, but like, if you know it's a good thing, despite your insecurity, I think you should go with it. And then, like answering the call of just like, here is the proposal. Like, I can finish a project that you want me to do. It's like, that's more or less. And I think that conviction, my boss always say conviction breeds conviction. I say he was a wonderful salesperson. Oh my gosh. He'd say, yeah, you can be full of shit, but if you say it with conviction, people are going to believe you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that is, do it for yourself and do it for other people to believe you, maybe.
Yeah. Where'd you learn to do things with so much conviction? Was there a part of your life that you did not have a lot of conviction around? Or a certain time period of your life where you lacked conviction around a lot of your life, and there was like this shift of how you thought about it?
Totally. Oh my God. Yeah. I was always really a self-confident kid growing up until probably the age of like 16. And around 16, I was dating this guy. And he was like, we were together for 5 years. He was my high school sweetheart, all that. He ended up cheating on me with like all my friends. So it took my whole like confidence and like self-respect and all of it. And it just crumbled. And so I developed like all these weird, I don't want to put all the blame on him. Like, I had other things going on in my life that were weird and family stuff. But yeah, basically from then until 26, I was like a little scrambled. And then, interestingly enough, the reason I stopped drinking was because I was back from college. You get back when you're like 26 or 20, 26, 20, hopefully not, 20, some do.
Yeah.
Props to you. Yeah, it's cool. 22, I think. And I was very insecure. Never would seem like that, but I didn't feel really like I had a lot of support in my life. I didn't feel very smart. I got through college fine, but I had to like try. There's just some kids. You were one of them, weren't you? You didn't have to try.
College was easier for me.
Yeah, see, like I hate people like you. Like, no, I'm just kidding. You're great, but I would definitely like sometimes cheat off of people like you.
Yeah.
Like, I could do stuff. The testing thing doesn't work for me. How that whole system works doesn't work for me. So I didn't think I was that smart because I had to try really hard. And anyways, I get out of college and I'm like around my family. I'm dating this guy who we were together for 3 years, different guy. And fast forward to when I'm 26, the same week, I break up with that guy. He and I break up, and it was a pretty intense breakup. And then that same week, my mom had been an alcoholic for like years, but that week is like when everything went to shit. Like, she totally like just lost control, and I had to get power of attorney to manage her money and her medical and her business. And she was in a lawsuit that I had to take over her house and the dogs and just everything. And it was like that 1 week was just like, whoop, it forced me to just like line up. And I went through the next, I don't know, probably 3-4 years having to be really responsible and like really control. And like I was working at the company that my ex was the CEO of. So there was that. And because I wanted to retain my job, I had to get really good at my job because he was my ex. So, and everybody there was his friend or his family. It was like really the only woman there for a while. So I never wanted people to think that I just got the job because I was a girl or because I was the ex's ex-girlfriend and they were really nice. It's like I couldn't tolerate that.
Yeah.
So I got very good at my job and I got very responsible and I started to handle shit in my life. Same time I had stopped drinking. So my self-respect grew. And anyways, when you fake it till you make it, like we were talking about on sales calls enough time, like I was on the phone doing sales like $40,000, $50,000 when I was like 26, $100,000 out of nothing with like jock CEOs of like like trying to talk to the NBA and stuff. This is a sports company.
Okay.
So I'm like, have to be a type of way on the phone and to like present myself like I have something to say.
Yeah.
So all of that combination really grew me. And I think it gave me a lot of conviction in like, damn, if you show up in a kind of way, the world responds.
Mm-hmm.
And it all responded. Like everything changed.
Yeah.
It was pretty crazy.
It's interesting how often responsibility breeds like maturity and growth. Like the more we're responsible for things in our life, like sometimes when you meet somebody who's really mature at a very young age, you often hear, well, at 13, I had to take care of my little sister, or I had to support my family, or I had to go to work, whatever it was. You find that they just had to take on responsibility far sooner in life.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why they're mature for their age, but really they've just had so much responsibility put on them, and they had to be.
They had to. It's like you had to calibrate to, it's like there's all these versions of us. This goes back to the like changing your identity kind of thing. Is like, as a result of all of that, I realized like, because I had to be so laser focused, because I really didn't have that much time in my day. I was managing so many things. I had to just like really focus and figure out how to do things well for myself and for my mom. And it was like, it bred this new self-respect and like a confidence that I was like, damn, I did that. Like, dang. Like, and I did that well, So, and before that, I remember like, I kind of asked for it. I remember growing up and being like, man, I have like a really pretty easy life. Like, I'm not that interesting. Like, it's just, there's some people that you meet that, you meet people and they've gone through it, but they're like interesting. Yeah. They're like kind of cool. I was like meeting people like that. And I was like, I wasn't wanting bad things to happen to me, but I was like, I'm just not that interesting.
Yeah.
And then it was like, boom. And all these things kind of grew me up.
Yeah.
Do you ever have anything like that?
That's a good question. Things that just grew me up.
Yeah.
I mean, I lived overseas for 2 years. This was obviously by choice. When I was 31, moved to Europe, and 30 or 31. Anyways, I think having to learn how other countries operate and fit into their system, how the culture operates, how to communicate with people, how to try to communicate when you don't speak the same language. How can you actually get to like where you want? How does the transportation system work? How's the money system work? How's the banking system work? How does the tax system work? Like, you have to figure out how other countries work. And it makes you really appreciate America, to be honest, because you understand the system. But I think those environments is why I've always liked living in other countries, is they change how you perceive the world very, very quickly. And they teach you how to adapt to the world very fast. And so for me, it's that adaptability.
That's relatable. My sister's lived in like, I don't even know, like 15 other countries.
Yeah.
She's been in Africa and like Norway or whatever in the last 3 months. Yeah. Like, yeah, I'll give it to her. She's very adaptable.
Yeah.
It's like, it gives you different street smarts too. Would you say that gave you like confidence in yourself?
Yeah. I mean, it's not to like center it all around traveling, but last year I went to Japan, solo trip, 10 days into Japan.
Sick.
And I basically said in the first 24 hours, I'm going to figure out how this country works. I'm going to figure out how the train system works, how the money system works, how I'm
Me
going
too.
to like actually operate, how I say hello, how do I say goodbye, how do I greet people, how do I hand people money, how do I accept money back from them? What's just like, how does this place work so that I can be here and feel like I actually belong in this country for the next 9 days? And so it gave me that ability to where after 24 hours, I was like, I pretty much understand how to navigate Japan in a way that makes me feel very comfortable and not like an outsider or like a tourist, but more like I understand I'm adapting to their culture. I'm not trying to bring my culture to them. I want to be engulfed into their culture. And so, yeah, it teaches me how to kind of enter a country or a community or a room, because that then plays into, okay, well, I'm going to walk into this gym where I don't know anybody. And how do I then kind of navigate this gym? How do I learn how the dynamics of how this gym work? And then to go to a scenario that works that we all kind of come across is I go to a party where I don't know anybody. How do I understand like the dynamics of this room very quickly and then understand how to kind of operate within this room or this container, because every dynamic is different.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you think that everybody can do that? Or do you think that's something that is like God given to some people to be able to sense those things? Because you can apply that to gym, social settings, a business,
Yeah.
another culture, like you mentioned. Like, do you think that's something you possess, or everybody can do that?
I think it's very learned, because I was awful. I was very introvert when I was in my 20s.
Really?
I was awful at like entering rooms where I didn't know anybody.
Hmm.
And so I think it's a very learned skill. And it's kind of what we were touching on is the more reps you get, the more you just do a thing, the more confident you get. And the more you do it at a way where I think so for me, there's a big difference between doing something to do something and then doing something to do it well. You would frame this as like, ooh, I did that thing well.
Mm-hmm.
For me, when I do something, I want to be learning and growing within doing or operating in that way.
Yeah.
And so I think I looked at everything as an opportunity to grow or an opportunity to learn. And that's where I was able to get better at a skill that honestly I wasn't good at. I would go to like a networking event and they were awful for me. This
You
probably
awkward?
still are, to be honest.
Yeah,
Like
you're really
not my
awkward. I'm
favorite,
just kidding.
but
You're great.
but yeah, it's yeah, there's this like I think it's just a repetition thing. I talk to a lot of men about that when it comes to dating.
Oh yeah. Oh man, I've
You
talked to
just-
so many men about that.
You
The
just got to get
reps.
reps in.
The
Like you
reps.
got to get reps in of going on dates. For me, it's reps in talking to women, talking to strangers on the street, in a coffee shop, on a walk. It is, how can I go up to a stranger and engage in a conversation? That doesn't just apply to dating. That applies to friends, business partners. Everywhere you go, you learn a skill. But you just got to get out to what we talked about earlier. You just got to do it.
Yeah.
And for me, it's doing it in a way that feels authentic to you. I don't think you can do anything in a way that's not truly authentic to you.
Totally.
Yeah.
Like everybody has their own formula of how they do it.
Yeah.
Whatever that is. You know, like you were talking about, or you were saying getting the reps in.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of what life is momentum. If you have momentum or not. So like for me, God, I remember the first close I ever did on my own in sales. It was like super intimidating. And I was just like, I don't know if I can do this. I would always have my other person at the company close for me. And then I did it the first time, kind of like low key. I didn't want anybody to know in case I didn't get it. And then I got it. And it was like $20,000. And I was like, yeah. But then it was like, now I know I can do it. And so you do the next one. And this is like obvious. We all know this. But then it was even the same with not drinking. I have a YouTube channel where I talk about this sometimes, because sometimes people are just like, we're so culturally ingrained with so many things that we don't even know why we do them, right? Like drinking is one of those things where we just kind of always started in our teens drinking. So to truly stop drinking, you do have to change your identity. So when I stopped, I would not only, change my life, my daytime, nighttime things, who I was hanging out with, one-on-one hangs, but I would intentionally go to bars alone and order a soda water by myself and sit at the bar and just sit. And And I would tell the bartender I don't drink when they would ask what I wanted, because I had to get the practice out to say it. And because I wasn't saying it to my friends, it took me a couple months to tell anybody about it.
Fascinating.
I had to like get the momentum going, because then I believed my identity. Because if you don't believe it, then you're wobbly, then you're weird.
Mm-hmm.
But like as soon as you get momentum and then you really start to believe your own thing, that's when it comes up. So it's like, I imagine approaching girls, right? Like it takes a few times, probably doing it in the shadows, getting denied like terribly. And then you get that one and you're like, dang, well, she said yes.
Yeah.
And then you do another one.
Yeah.
And then now you're like somebody who asks girls out. And now you can show up as that person.
Mm-hmm.
How does that, I don't know, how does that work?
How did talking to
Girls,
women?
like if you were, how do men learn that?
I mean, there's a lot of men out there that teach it, so I think that's great. I think there's a lot of books. There's a lot of men who have made it kind of like I don't want to call it a science or an art form. I'm unsure because I haven't really read any of it, but definitely respect the work that they do.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, it was I wanted to understand how I wanted to communicate with women, and so for me, in a way that didn't feel like I was invading their space, or that didn't make me feel like I was getting rejected. That was the biggest one. I didn't want to feel like I was getting rejected.
Yeah.
So, for example, if I saw you in what you're wearing right now, I would walk up to you and I'd be like, I really love your outfit. You look really beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And you're going to respond in a couple different ways. You're going to respond and say, thank you so much. And you kind of turn away. Cool. She's not interested. That's okay. I got to give her a compliment and I go about my day. If you're interested, you'll say, thank you so much. What's your name? Or you'll say something, you'll engage in the conversation.
I see.
And then you kind of play with it from there and you see where it goes. So for me, it was, how can I deliver value to the woman, which is, she looks great. She's beautiful. I, really like the way your hair is done. I really like your shoes, and not in a way of like inauthenticity. I would never say that if I didn't actually believe it.
Yeah.
And then we both just go about our days. And
that's interesting.
Yeah. And so it was a safe place for me to be able to have conversations with people, women in particular, out in the wild, as they say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Out in the wild. You do this. This is interesting about you. You want to like solve the thing, like the Japan thing. Like you wanted to solve like immediately day one. Like a lot of people wouldn't have that framework of being like, I'm going to figure this out.
Yeah.
Like you went in and you were like, I'm going to figure this out and do it. And then with the CMO thing, you're like, I'm just going to do it and figure it out. And like with the girls thing, like why? What's the driving force?
Why do I want to figure things out?
Yeah, it's almost like you have your set of curiosity too, or something.
Yeah. So it's a good question. I have this tendency, and what's going in my brain right now is a lot of like back in the day when I did a lot of Olympic weightlifting. And I have this tendency to, when I'm going to start to do something, I either want to do it as best as possible or I do not want to do it. I don't have a very good in between.
Okay.
And so where a lot of this stuff comes from, where it's like traveling to Japan, or how to integrate in Japan in 24 hours. It's like this obsession of wanting to do something so well, and it being this, and well would be the experience of Japan. How do I create like the ultimate experience for myself? And so the reason why I had kind of alluded to like the Olympic weightlifting was, I get a lot of compliments these days around like, oh, you've had, the way your Olympic weightlifting form is very, very good. And for me, it was, I don't see how it could be anything else. I wouldn't have pursued it if that wasn't an actual like place that I would end up. And so that's the way I think about work too. You had mentioned this earlier, where you had said, I did something and I did it well.
Yeah.
There's a big difference between I did something and then you're proud of the outcome that you created.
Yes.
That is a wildly different experience. Where did you get to a point in your life where you said, I'm so, like, I need to create great work. I need to be world-class at things. When did that happen for you?
I think as soon as I realized I could. And like that was one of those times where like I had a lot of confidence in sports growing up and things like that. But, you kind of just, I don't know, for me, I just, up in teens and 20s, I dropped out of college and I went back, but I dropped out and it was like at the time, no one did that. It's just like not a thing you did at that time. And so again, like all of these weird insecurities about things, because I was just like, it just nothing felt right. When I got into business is when I realized I'm good at this. Yeah. It was like this weird thing of like, for whatever reason, I just, in certain things, like when you're at a startup, you're given a lot of leash to do anything you want, as you know, right? So you just kind of figure it out. And I realized like I'm a different kind of smart. It's not the smart that's like the obvious smart that you're going to take the test and ace it and all that kind of thing. It's still very smart, but it's different. And so I started to do things and I would do them well. And then that just became my own expectation of myself. And others expected it of me too, because naturally I just had a love for business. And so it really wasn't hard for me to do it well. It just was good because I was enjoying it, I think. And so, yeah, then you kind of get to this place of like that then also becomes your identity in a certain, like you do it enough times, you build the momentum, then that's who you are. And we were talking about this in the car, but it's been challenging for me lately to be involved in a career that I really don't like. And I'm not doing it as well as I could. And I think that's actually important to say because like I think things that we love or we're inspired by, we do well, And even if we don't, like if our standard is to do it well, like we'll force ourselves to get there. That kind of sucks. It's like to force yourself to have to try to do something well when you just could do something you like well. So I don't know. I think it's a nice thing to like, if we're not doing something well and it takes like pulling your teeth out to do it well, are you really doing the right thing? It should be natural. Like people are good at things.
Yeah.
People are really smart.
Yeah.
People are really powerful. It's like, it should just happen naturally.
How do you go about finding the things that you're really good at?
Curiosity. Truly. It's so funny. It's that thing. It's that one of my best friends, he said this to me before. He's like, God speaks to you in consistencies. Like not consistently. God speaks to you about things consistently. Like when it's the language of God, it's a consistent message. And so if something keeps nagging at you, that might not be a distraction. That might be a worthwhile curiosity. And so for me, like the latest for me has been, honestly for months now, has been playing the piano. I've been like dying. I used to play all the time, but I really love music and I just don't have a lot of time in my day. And so now I'm just like, maybe I could just like rework my day and do that. The space thing. I just have been curious. It just was a nagging curiosity that would literally like, it's a whisper. Like I think God in the universe speaks in whispers. It's not real loud. It's a little like, like a little like, that's a thing. And then you're like, oh, okay. And you could go on. But if you hear it weeks, months, years, it's like some's there.
Yeah. And
that's, I think, how I have the discernment and will continue to try to have the discernment going forward is it a distraction? It's fleeting, or is it a consistent whisper?
Yeah.
I suppose. How about you?
Hold on. Wait, we're not there yet. I'm so curious. Something that I think would bubble up for me is if I'm finding myself being really curious about the piano, I personally have a tendency to work all the time. Yeah. And I'm just like, my curiosity, if it's not going to make me money, I can sometimes suppress it of just like, oh, I don't have time for a thing that is not monetarily going to support me. How do you think about that in the sense of curiosity with things like a YouTube channel that has potential to, be monetized versus curiosity, something like a piano where, I don't think you're going to be playing, any piano concerts anytime soon.
I don't plan on it, no.
You can put it on your YouTube channel though. And
I know people that do actually. No, it's a really good question because I have struggled with that in the past. Cause I think people, when I talk, like sometimes in my family, people are like, how much do you work? And I'm like, I'll explain it. And they're like, that's a lot. I'm like, yeah, but I love it. If it's a work I love doing it. And like YouTube is work, but it's so fun to do once you're in the flow. So, but then you also run into this, it can show up in like reading. Like, are you just reading something because it's going to help you make more money? Like, when was the last time, actually, I'm genuinely curious, when was the last time you read a fantasy book?
This is only because I'm in a book club where we read.
Okay, are you reading your stories?
So that's kind of like, I mean, to that point, I had to join a book club in order to read something that wasn't about, self-growth or business or whatever. Yeah.
Is it the band book club?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I was actually thinking about joining that too for the same reason, because I was like, well, I don't ever just do something for the sake of doing it. This is kind of where I think I've landed with it all. I believe that there is a sort of superpower to releasing the focus on the end goal of making money or for some personal gain in a sense. Like, I was listening to this podcast just a couple days ago, and it was what's his name, Mr. Wonderful?
Kevin
O'Leary. And he was talking about how, who he picks to invest in and like why he chooses these people. It's tons of people. He's multi, I think billionaire, right? Like he's very, very wealthy. And he said that the people that he picks, he wants them to have hobbies outside of work. He says, if you look at the money they make over the year and the work that they get done, it far outpaces the people who are just working all the time. He's like, It's incredible. It's one of the biggest measures, because he's like, you want to find the person who's like, I want to do this project, but like, I need to go be on a motorcycle for like 3 days and like, just kind of like fuck off for a little bit. Like, he's like, that's the person you want. And he was explaining how basically there's it's like a character trait of theirs to sort of be extreme or like need to release maybe their genius and their thoughts for a little bit to then come back to it and do quite well. And so for me, I've realized it's like, it's the same for me. If I hyper focus on work and I only work, it actually clouds everything. Yeah, I actually think the people, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think the people who like on Saturdays, like every single week, my day to do nothing but fun is Saturday, no matter what. I'm not touching a screen. No. And like, it gives me a reset almost. So I think that like giving yourself space is actually honoring your work. But we just don't look at it like that.
Yeah.
It was just like this hyper obsession with like staying on it and staying on the work, and like you have to consume and you have to do it. And if it's not generating money, then it's a loss. It's like, no, maybe it's this certain playing with energy that you're allowing to actually release a little bit.
Yeah.
If that tracks.
That's fascinating to think of anybody who is, whether they're a startup founder or they have their own company or whatever, maybe they just work hard, and to think that to somebody who has quote unquote made it, they're going to find more value in somebody who has a life outside of work. Totally. That's such a good reframe for so many of us who basically beat ourselves to death with work, including myself in a lot of parts of life. Like, I'm pretty good about the weekends where I detach quite a bit from work on the weekends.
You have fun.
Yeah, I have quite a bit of fun on the weekends. Yeah. But there's still, sometimes in my mind, I'm thinking, why am I not working? So I might be physically detached, but I don't know if I'm always mentally detached.
Do you think that's who you are? Or do you think that's a program that's running based off of cultural norms or expectations?
I think it's who I am. I don't think I don't feel attached to any sort of program or expectation. That part I actually doesn't resonate with me at all.
Mm-hmm.
I just tend to love creating things. That's one of the big things. So for me, a lot of work in business and whatever podcast, it's an art form for me. Like that's my art. This is my painting.
Totally.
Yeah. So like it's my creative outlet to just say, ooh, you have a business idea? Can I build you a spreadsheet for the next hour and figure out like mathematically if it works?
It's fun for you.
Yeah. It's just like, it'd be this no different than sitting down and doing a painting.
Totally. This guy who I dated for a little while, he and I, it was so fun to meet him because I would just be in Denver and like everybody wanted to go snowboarding on the weekends and like do all this stuff. And like snowboarding is cool and all that, but like it's cold. So it's really cold. It takes 4 hours to get up there. And also like for whatever reason, I just wanted to work. And he was the same way. And it almost like gave me permission. I was like, oh my God, like you get it. Like it's fun. I just want to build this thing. I want to create the thing.
Yeah.
I think if it's coming from that place, like power to you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I don't think everything needs to be. That goes back to the feeling thing, the like what drives your curiosity. Like if you're creating a project, at least in my opinion, like if you're making something, you're creating something, and then you just keep finding the new thread that day to keep going, like that's what you should do if it's enjoyable.
Yeah.
There's plenty of people though who I don't know that they recognize that burning the candle, what does they say? Was it
burning the candle at both ends?
At both ends is actually detrimental to the creation process.
Yeah.
According to Kevin O'Leary. I'll take his
He's
word.
pretty smart.
He's pretty smart.
Yeah.
He's got something. He's got something to say.
Yeah. Well, cool. We're getting towards the end.
Mm-hmm.
And if somebody wanted to lean into their curiosity, they're like, they just said, I don't feel like I'm curious enough. I want to explore my curiosity. What would you tell them?
I would tell them to say yes more often to things that come up, because for a very long time, I remember I didn't have hobbies. I didn't have interests. I didn't know what I liked. And it's a big leap to go from that to like suddenly being curious about things. And then it turns into something big. You just kind of have to be willing to like go with it. Like somebody says, you want to go hiking and you've never done that before? It's like, yeah. Or somebody says, this is a cool fantasy book. And you're like, kind of intrigued about reading, you're not really sure, like start reading a couple nights, just like build the momentum, see if you're into it kind of thing. So many people ask about starting a YouTube channel. I'm like, just start it. Mm-hmm. Like actually no one cares. Like literally don't tell any of your friends, don't tell any of your friends you're doing it. Put it out there. There are 9 billion people in this world. I promise you, no one's going to judge you. And if they do, who cares?
Not your audience.
Not your audience. like I would say just say yes and just start to dabble, and then the sticky things, they stick.
Yeah.
It's kind of like when you meet a lot of new friends, your best friends continue to show up, and then it's just eventually your best friends. So I think that's a great way to kind of spur the curiosity.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Say yes.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yes.
What's the name of your YouTube channel?
It's just my name. Lauren Knight Hughes.
I love it.
I chose that because I was like, honestly, I'm so curious that I know my curiosity is going to change my whole life. And I don't know what I could possibly call it.
Yeah.
So it's just my name because that's pretty straightforward.
Done.
Yeah.
I love that. Thank you so much, Lauren.
Thanks for having me.
I appreciate you.
This was awesome.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks.